Hi, I'm Mark Williams. I'm here with Luanne Littleton Stoltz and Andy Tillman with another in our series of interviews with famous graduates of the South Salem High School class of 1970. Luanne, you're on the hot seat today. What would you like to share with us?
Well, I thought I would just talk a little bit about my family history because that's always important to me. And I actually grew up in Eastern Oregon, in Pendleton. And the way I started in Pendleton is that my ancestors migrated to the Oregon country in 1852. They came on a wagon train. My great grandfather and 5 of his sons and their wives came on a wagon train from the Midwest. And my great grandfather and his wife had a baby that was 9 months old when they started the wagon train trip. And that baby actually died on the wagon train trip of cholera and was buried along the way. So that's kind of a tragedy that has been history that's told through our family. And they ended up in Steilacoom, which is just outside of Tacoma. And they founded that little town there and started the first grist mill. And then my great grandfather, Daniel Bird, their last name was Bird, kind of wandered up and down the West Coast a little bit. He went up to Victoria, BC, and then he went to like the Bellingham area, and then he went down to Corvallis and eventually settled in a little town called Pilot Rock, which is just outside of Pendleton, and started a sawmill there. And he and his wife had 11 children, 9 of whom survived. And they lived there for the rest of their lives. He actually died fairly young when his wife was pregnant and left her with 6 children. And she stayed there and raised the rest of those children and donated the land for a school there. And it was called the Bird Schoolhouse, and it is now a little museum in Pendleton. And some of the children who graduated from that school, including my grandmother and my mother and my aunt, and some of the other ancestors have signed their names on the chalkboard in that school. And so that's kind of a fun historical thing that we like to go back and look at when we're in Pendleton. And as a number of my friends know, my sister and I still go to the Roundup every year. And that's a tradition that has stayed with our family. Many of our family members go to the Roundup every year. And I haven't missed very many Roundups in my life, maybe 10 over the full time of my Roundup. And I know Andy has gone to the Roundup a number of times because his roots are in Eastern Oregon.
Yeah, Luanne, I did not know in high school that you and I grew up 18 miles away from each other, just literally across a few wheat fields. My connection to the Roundup is that my ancestors also crossed the plains in 1852 and settled in Umatilla County. And our family gave the Pony Express trophy in memory of my grandfather, Henry Barrett, who had horse racing with the Wild Horse Riding Club in Athena, where I grew up for probably 50 years. So he was a well-known horseman in Northeast Oregon. And so I'm surprised we never ran into each other at the Roundup.
Well, my family was well known for drinking. And so we probably were in different areas.
Well, I mean, I'll admit to being at the Letterbuck Room once or twice, and also the Rainbow. So, I may have run into you and not known it.
Yeah, that could be. That very well could be. So then when I was 13, my family moved to Salem, and I went to Judson for the second half of my 7th grade year. And then my family moved to Wildwind Drive, and I went to Leslie for 8th and 9th grade. And I thought that was just a great school to go to. I really enjoyed Leslie. It was a very big school compared to what I was used to, but I still liked it. I made a lot of friends, and I thought it was a fun place to go to school. And the fact that it was connected to South was, very exotic. I thought that was just super exciting. And then went on to South, and looking back at South, I just thought we had amazing teachers. And one that I really remember is Amanda J. Anderson, who is the only teacher I was ever terrified of. But I have to say, I learned more English in Amanda J. Anderson's class than in all the combined classes in my life. And apparently fear is a very motivating teacher.
I think we were
had
all
her as a
afraid of
teacher.
Amanda.
Now, you were in the speech program, weren't you, Andy?
Yeah. So she was our instructor for all the numerous speech events we went to around the Northwest. So I got a double dose of fear.
Yeah, but I bet you learned a lot.
I did.
Yeah, she was very, very good. And I would say there were very few instructors that I had that I didn't think were really good. So I think that's pretty unusual for someone to be able to say, going through their junior high and high school years, that they felt that nearly all their instructors were really good. And I really enjoyed my math and science classes, which were my main attraction. I ended up being a math and science instructor myself for many years, and enjoyed that career for a long, long time. So I think that was one of the inspirations, was going to South and having good instructors myself.
I remember a chemistry class where our chemistry instructor, with his beautiful Scottish accent, Mr. Burrell,
Oh yeah,
was quoting a Bob Dylan song once. I mean, I don't know that we had a STEM path for students, back in the 60s and 70s, but I mean, that guy was just an incredible human being and a great teacher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think we were very lucky to be going to the school that we were in, and to have the opportunities that we did in a public high school. And I think we also had a lot of fun. We had, nice people that we associated with, and lots of opportunities for extracurricular activities. And I think that I got to know a lot of different people in lots of walks of life that I really enjoyed.
So Luanne, I know that later you started playing competitive bridge, and apparently your husband is world renowned in that area. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
A world-known bridge player. Yeah, my parents actually played bridge my entire life. They had a duplicate bridge club when I was a kid, and I used to deal out the boards when I was a kid. And my whole family plays bridge, and from the time we were old enough to hold cards, they taught us how to play some version of the game. And so I've played some version of bridge a lot, but I didn't start playing competitively until, I would say, about 7 years ago. And it's just a great game. It really is a lot of fun. And they hold tournaments all over the United States, and actually all over the world, but we travel around the United States to tournaments. But my husband and I play it more socially. I mean, I am not a good bridge player, I will say that, but I enjoy it a lot, and I make a lot of friends and have a good time playing. But my husband is very serious about it. I mean, he studies bridge for over an hour every day, and plays with pros and people who play professionally. He doesn't like to be paid, but people offer to pay him. But people like Bill Gates and people along those lines pay people like $20,000 a week to play with them in bridge tournaments. I mean, it's unbelievable what people will pay for professional bridge players to play with them. And so we go to these tournaments and you see famous people all the time playing bridge. And it's a lot of fun. It really is great. And I recommend it to everyone in our age group to learn to play bridge.
So
Keeps your
Luanne,
mind sharp and gives you something to do.
did you meet your husband playing bridge?
I did not. He and I were both math teachers at Aloha High School, and we met there. And then shortly after we were married, he decided to go back to school and get his PhD in computer science. And then he went on to work in different computer science companies and that kind of thing. But he actually knew my parents before he knew me, because he went to Willamette and played in the Salem Bridge Club with my parents. So we have kind of this quirky connection prior to that.
I know you also competed in tennis. You were captain of your team up in Portland, and along with your Pendleton trips, you used to do an annual pilgrimage down to Southern California to the
Yes.
Palm Springs area for a tournament.
Yeah, the Palm Springs tournament, that was so much fun. We loved that as spectators, not playing, obviously. Yes, again, I was not a good tennis player, but I enjoyed the social aspect of it. And I'm a good administrator, so that's why I was captain. And it was a lot of fun to go down to those tennis tournaments in Palm Springs in the spring of each year. I'm sure those tennis tournaments will resume soon, and I recommend to anybody who hasn't been to one to do that. It's just a lot of fun to go to those tournaments and see all the famous tennis players. It's just like going to one, to any of the big worldwide tournaments. All of the best tennis players play, and you get to see them up close and personal, and you can buy really good tickets and see, the best tennis players in the world play, in our little Palm Springs. It's really fun.
So did you play tennis in high school?
I did not. No, I didn't take up tennis till I was in my 40s. And my sister had always played, and I wanted to do something with my sister. And so I said, oh, well, I think I'll take some lessons and see if I can play tennis with my sister. And so I did. And we had a good time. We played on some teams together, and it was just, a fun thing to do.
So any other thoughts about high school or beyond that you'd like to share with people?
Well, I think that, it's really fun to look back on our high school years and the times that we spent together. And I think it's fun to imagine what we would have done and think about, is this where I expected to be as an adult, And in a sense, I think it is. I, pictured myself sort of doing what I'm doing now. And what a surprise that I actually ended up where I am doing what I'm doing. And I think it's exactly what I hoped that I would be doing. I have a lovely family. I have 3 kids that live within a few miles of me. I have 6 grandkids, and I love to spend time with them. I was with all of them this morning at my daughter's house, and we have a great time together, and we get to travel a little bit. And I just am very thankful for all that I'm able to do. And, I have good health. My mother lives a mile from me. My sister lives near me. And I, think that I have the ideal life. I couldn't be more thankful for what I have. And I'm looking forward to the reunion in September 18th. I hope people will go to the reunion website and register, and that we all have a chance to get together and talk about our lives and what's gone on.
Well, the website you're referring to is southsalem1970.com. So that's southsalem1970.com. And when you register, you don't have to pay anything, just register, and then you'll be kept up to date on things as they progress. But it's Saturday, September 18th, between 4 and 8 p.m. at the Gilgamesh Brew Pub. So all you Salemites know Gilgamesh, and as far as South Salem class affiliations there. So we'll hope to see you September 18th.
I think that that's something to really look forward to. And I really appreciate talking with you gentlemen this evening and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, see you in
You're
Salem.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.